Welcome back to the Red Elevator, guys. And yes, let's talk about Pinterest and the hottest trend predictions. Most of them are fashion and beauty, but here's the thing that most people don't realize fashion and interior design have always mirrored each other. The colors on the runway this season are the paint colors on your walls next season. The silhouette designers are putting on models are the furniture shapes landing in showrooms 6 months later. I've always believed that the best designers don't work in a silo. What's happening in fashion, in art, in travel, in culture, it all feeds into how we design our homes. We're influenced by the world we live in, and our homes reflect that, whether we're intentional about it or not. So I love using a report like this one, which spans every category as a lens for where home design is actually heading. Today, we're going through every relevant trend. I'll translate each one into what it actually means for your interiors, and I'll give you my honest take on whether it's worth your time and money. Make sure you stay until the end. Trend number 10 is the one I think most people are sleeping on completely. It's not the flashiest thing on the list, but it is the one that will change how you feel in your home on every single day. Trend number 1, cool blue. So let's talk about cool blue. Pinterest describes this as cross-category shade takeover. Gen Z and millennials are bringing glacial sub-zero sophistication to everything. Clothing, cocktails, makeup, accessories. Frosted makeup searches are up 150%. Ice blue wedding dress is up 55%. Glacier aesthetic is up 35%. So why does that matter? Well, I'm going to be upfront with you. From the start on this one, blue is not my color. It is generally not a shade I gravitate towards in my own home or reach for first with my clients. So take everything I say here knowing that I'm working against my own instinct a little bit, which I think actually makes my take more useful, not less. So, and I'll be fair to it. I can see objectively why a room in dusty steel blue or soft slate works. It's calm, it's composed, it pairs well with certain tones of wood, and it brings the outside in. I've seen it executed well. I can appreciate the way that you can appreciate perhaps, a dish you don't personally want to eat. But my honest take, and this is both a personal and a professional one, blue is a color that requires real commitment to live with, and it tends to be on the colder spectrum, which is where I believe it falls flat. It can very easily tip from sophisticated to cold and unwelcoming. Now, I've attached enough color trend cycles to know that when something this specific takes off, it produces a lot of identical rooms very quickly. The gray wave did it, the grayish did it, cool blue will be too. So if you have any hesitation, stay far, far away, but just know you're going to see a lot of blue. My advice is do what works for you. I just love to talk about what's happening around us so we don't fall into the traps of it and understand why everybody's pushing a certain color. Now, ask yourself honestly whether you want to live in a cool toned room every single day for many years. Paint is reversible though, sure, but it's still time and money. And more importantly, your home should feel like you, not the algorithm. Okay, next up is one that I think has been quietly building for a while, and I'm really glad it's finally getting its momentum. Are you guys ready for this? Afrohemian Decor. So Afrohemian Decor, this is my absolute favorite home trend in this entire report. Full stop. Pinterest describes it as a fusion of African and Bohemian styles, colorful Nigerian textiles, Ethiopian wall art, hand-woven baskets, natural fiber rugs, bamboo beaded curtains. Searches for Afrohemian home decor are up 220%. I'm not joking. So it's a traditional North African geometric pattern is also up 210%. This is not a passing blip. People are genuinely hungry for this. And I want to say that having traveled throughout Kenya over on my last trip really anchored this for me and made me fall in love even more with the type of beautiful design and decor that is happening wholeheartedly and naturally within these African countries. Okay, now I want to address something up front because it matters. There is a meaningful difference between being genuinely inspired by and informed by a design culture versus using it as a costume for your living room. So the way that I always think about it is, are you bringing in a beautiful attire fabric because you love the craft and the story behind it? Are you sourcing from actual African artisan and makers? or are you picking up a mass-produced knockoff because it looks exotic? So the distinction matters to the culture and honestly to the integrity of your space. Always buy from an actual artist if you can. Things do not have to be expensive to be authentic. When this is done with real intention, Afrohemian interiors are some of the most beautiful, layered, and soulful spaces in the world. They have warmth, history, texture in a way that a lot of Western influenced design genuinely struggles to achieve. So here's how I'd approach this in a transitional home. Start with a natural foundation, sisal or jute rug. Look, I'm on one right now. And these are your anchors. Then layer in one or two statement textiles with authentic patterns, a throw, a set of cushions, a large wall art piece. Bring in a hand-woven basket wall, for example. If you haven't seen this done, well, look it up. It's stunning and it's really interesting. Add a rattan or cane accent chair for that bohemian textural layer as well. Now, the color palette is extraordinary. We're talking deep indigos, terracottas, forest green, saffron yellow, warm creams, rich without being overwhelming. This is one I'll be recommending to clients all year and well beyond. It has staying power because it's rooted in craft and culture, and that never goes out of style. Now, from a trend I love to one that I have very strong feelings about, and not all of them are good. Trend number 3, broached maximalist layering. This is a fashion trend. Boomer and millennial men wearing vintage pins, crystal clip-ons, heirloom brooches. Brooch aesthetic searches are up 110%, maximalist accessories up 105%. I'm very excited about this because I love accessories. Now, you might be thinking, Nina, that's menswear. No, it's not. Why are we talking about it? Because the design principle behind broached is one of the most useful things you can apply to your home, and I want you to hear it. Broach is essentially about mixing heirloom with contemporary. It's about wearing something your grandmother would have owned, but wearing it in a completely fresh way. And that tension, old and new, inherited and current, is, as you guys know, one of the most sophisticated things that we do in our design firm. And you guys can also implement in your home and, of course, in your attire. Think about what that looks like in your home. A beautiful antique piece of wall art hung in an otherwise very clean modern room, a vintage side table next to a contemporary sofa, a piece of inherited silverware, my favorite, displayed on a modern shelf. That's broached energy and interior design. And it works because it gives a room soul and personality without making it feel like a museum. You guys know this is my favorite thing to do. It's this beautiful mixture that makes spaces so unique. The rooms that feel most interesting to me as a designer are never all new. I hate it when everything's new. It hurts my heart. There's always something with history in pieces that make me happy and make others people notice the importance of these special collected pieces over time. All right, let's talk about the next one. This is where I need you to listen very carefully because I think this trend has the most potential to go very, very wrong. Are you ready? It's called Funhaus. Pinterest calls this circus-inspired home decor. Bold stripes, sculptural silhouettes, and I'm quoting directly, just a wink of clownish charm. So circus interior searches are up 130%, striped ceilings are up 40%, vintage circus aesthetic is up 70%. This was very strong in the 90s when we were designing nurseries for very high-end clients, and it's now back, as most 90s things are back. So I'm going to be straight with you on this one because I think it genuinely needs it. My gut reaction when I read circus-inspired home decor is a hard maybe. Why? Well, actually, it's more of a hard no, not because I'm against bold design, you know I'm not, but because I've been in enough client consultations to know exactly what happens when a trend like this lands without proper guardrails. You just get tired of it, and you get tired of it quickly. People see a beautifully art-directed Pinterest board shot by a professional photographer with a generous styling budget, and they try and recreate it in real homes, and it goes wrong. Where I find that this goes absolutely right is in homes similar to one that was published recently in Architectural Digest, Mandy Moore's Children's Room. To me, this is something that works very well in children's rooms. It's sophisticated for a children's room, but not sophisticated enough for the rest of the home. That's my take. Now, here's what bothers me, especially about Funhaus. The name itself almost gives people permission to throw caution out the window. It's supposed to be fun. anything goes. But that's not how good design works, especially when the brief is playful, actually, because playful is one of the hardest things to execute well without tipping into the chaotic. Pinterest does include a caveat: pair punchline patterns with pared back palettes. That advice is correct, but I worry most people will skim right past it. If you're genuinely drawn to this trend, here's the very narrow path I would walk. Pick one element, just one. A striped wall in two soft complementary tones can be genuinely transformative. It draws the eye up, adds architectural interest, and photographs beautifully. But then everything else, walls, furniture, accessories, needs to be calm, naturally grounded. The stripe does the talking. Everything else just listens. The sculptural furniture angle is the safer entry point: a curved sofa, a wavy edged mirror, a bulbous pendant lamp. These already exist all over contemporary design and they read sophisticated, not kitschy. So I would start there. But for the full circle treatment, guys, unless you're designing a very fun playroom for toddlers or a beautiful nursery with some oomph, for most people in homes, I'd say stay away. Trend number 5, Neo-Deco. Art Deco updated for 2026. Crisp chevrons, fan arches, geometric details, edged in chrome or brass. Red marble bathroom searches are up 80%. Antique bar carts are up 100%. Brass aesthetic is up 35%. I have been watching Art Deco build quietly for the last 2 years. Now I'm glad it's finally getting its official sort of launch. And this aesthetic, of course, is one of my most espoused aesthetics. My home is Art Deco. The soffits are Art Deco. I have a lot of Art Deco details in this home. I just love it. I think it's timeless. Here's why I love Neo Deco for transitional homes specifically. So Art Deco is inherently transitional. It bridges ornate and geometric. It's glamorous but structured, maximalist in a spirit but disciplined in execution. And importantly, it has rules. Those rules make it easier to design within, not harder. And this was actually true in the time period that Art Deco was even born. The neo part is really critical. We're not creating a 1920s Gatsby mansion. That's not what we're doing. We're taking the vocabulary of Art Deco, the geometry, the symmetry, the luxury materials, and expressing it with contemporary restraint. In practice, start with a deep, saturated wall color, deep teals, rich burgundies, warm charcoal. Art Deco loved contrast, and a dark wall makes metallic and geometric elements pop beautifully. If that feels like too much commitment, one wall behind a bed, but you guys know I just don't love accent walls, but if that's all you're able to push through, then that's okay. For architectural details, geometric wall paneling is the single most impactful Neo-Deco move you can make. Fan arches, chevron patterns, applied molding, even peel and stick for those living in rentals. Why not? Can make things look genuinely more beautiful at a fraction of the cost. For furniture, I would recommend strong geometric lines, velvet upholstery, brass details, the antique bar cart. Oh my goodness, love that. I've got one and most of my friends do too. Is your most accessible entry point because functional, glamorous, sculptural, and marble in deeper tones will work. Forest green, deep reds, black with gold veining, they all anchor any space in history and luxury. What I love most about Neo Deco is the staying power. Art Deco has lasted 100 years as a design language. This is not a trend you'll regret in 3 years, guys. Trust me. It's a refresh of a classic. My top investment recommendations from this entire report. Now, we're halfway through, and I want to pause for 1 second. I know some of you are watching this thinking, Nina, this is a great episode, but I genuinely don't know how to apply any of this to my actual home. And that's exactly why I offer one-on-one design consultations and have been booked solid to the point that you guys are calling me, somehow finding me, messaging me, and asking me if I can open up spaces for you. And of course, I will do that for people who have emergencies, but getting on a call with me will allow you to really filter through all of the noise. I am able to help you fine tuning your needs, whether it's furniture, whether it's a color palette, whether it's a layout, where to invest your money, where to save. I would say 9 times out of 10, you guys have told me that I've actually saved you money. That's one big takeaway that I have gotten from your feedback. And that is really what I love doing because you don't need to repurchase everything. You need to repurpose and you need to be smart with your design choices. And if any of that sounds appealing, the link is in the description section below where you will click on a Zoom consultation. My calendar will pop up and you can easily book a consultation for 25 minutes or longer. Now, let's talk about trend number 6, Glamoratti, 80s maximalism in interiors. This is a very exciting year for interior designers. And that is because we can implement anything and everything we want. Everything is on the table, guys. And so is Glamoratti. So this is Pinterest's 80s maximalist fashion revival. Sculptured shoulders, chunky gold jewelry, bold silhouettes, 80s luxury searches are up 225%. And look, in fashion, I have mixed feelings. The 80s gave us some extraordinary moments and some things I think we should probably leave in the past. But I am an 80s girl. I grew up in the 80s and I love the broad shoulders. There's so much of the 80s that I love. And the 80s maximalist revival is actually already happening. And when it's done well, it's extraordinary. Here's what 80s maximalism energy translates to in a home. Rich jewel tones, sculptural furniture with personality. Don't forget all of the glass blocks, but done in a new contemporary way. Statement lighting, bold patterns on a single surface. A velvet emerald green sofa, why not? A lacquered cabinet in a deep color. Oversized brass floor lamps. These are not subtle choices, but they are choices with conviction. And conviction is what separates a design room from a furnished one. What I would caution against is treating Glamoratti as a license to do everything at once everywhere. The 80s interiors that people remember badly were the ones with no edit. Every surface competing, every element fighting for attention. The version that works in 26 is crafted maximalism. Big gestures, but breathing room between them. One truly extraordinary piece in a room rather than 10 good ones. Think of it this way. In fashion, Glamoratti works because one statement piece, a sculptural shoulder or a huge gold cuff, elevates all the other clean pieces that you're wearing. Apply that exact logic to your room and you will have a home run. Next, this one is a trend that sounds simple on the surface, but has some really interesting design depth to it. Trend number 7, guys. Only 3 more left, so you got to stay tuned for the last. Khaki Coded natural material palette. What did she just say? That's what I said. Pinterest frames this as an explorer inspired fashion aesthetic. Khaki Bermuda shorts, field jackets, vests with pockets, brown linen shirts. Searches are up 100%. And paleontologist's aesthetic is also up. So, okay, as a fashion choice, it's really not my personal territory, I'll be honest. But as a color and material story for interiors, this is deeply relevant and actually really beautiful. The Khaki Coded palette, warm khaki, sand beige, earthy browns, warm natural linens is essentially the foundation palette of transitional design done well. These are the colors that work in almost any light, in almost any space, with almost any accent. Color layered on top. They're genuinely timeless. Now, where does this get interesting for 2026, specifically in the texture story? Khaki Coded isn't just a color, it's a material language. Linen, canvas, worn leather, unfinished wood, stone. These are the textures that give a room warmth and depth without requiring a lot of color commitment. If you've been trying to create a home that feels calm and put together, but you're not sure where to start, this palette is honestly one of the safest and easiest way to begin. Think natural linen curtains, a warm leather armchair, a jute rug, reclaimed wood shelving, simple, considered, enduring. All right, from understated to very, very not understated, the next one is not for the faint-hearted. Trend number 8. I even had to take a double take on this one. This is the Vamp Romantic Moody Dark Interior. Now, trend 8, Vamp Romantic. This is Pinterest's dark beauty trend. Jet black nails, gothic hairstyles, smudged kohl, smoky eyes, all with a touch of glossy glamour. Dark romantic makeup searches are up 160%. Gothic coffin nails are up 180%. There's something going on, guys, with black. And I'm typically wearing black, so this has some relevance. Now, in beauty terms, this is a whole mood. And when I see this aesthetic, deep, moody, romantic, a little dangerous, my mind goes straight to interiors because this energy translates directly into some of the most stunning rooms I've ever designed. Again, it takes me back to my own home where all of my doors are painted a matte black. The Vamp Romantic interior is deep plum or charcoal walls, for example, black lacquered furniture, Velvet and dark jewel tones, midnight blue wine, forest greens, candlelight, brass details, heavy drapery. It's not a subtle space, but it is a very dramatic and intentional one. I want to push back on something here because I get this. In consultations all the time, people are afraid of dark rooms. They think dark equals small or heavy or depressing. And I understand why people think that, but it is a very badly executed, that's where it feels off. But a well-designed dark room is one of the most dramatic, one of the most enveloping, one of the most beautifully and extraordinary spaces, especially for evening gatherings. A dark bedroom done properly feels like a proper sanctuary. A moody dining room is one of my favorites by candlelight, and this creates an atmosphere that no amount of neutral paint can ever compete with. My advice, don't half commit to dark. A single dark accent in an otherwise light room rarely lands well. It tends to just look like an accident. If you're going dark, go all the way. Paint the ceiling, the walls, everything. Maybe bring in a dark wallpaper. Speaking of which, I have just designed this exact type of wallpaper, which will be coming out soon. And I can't wait to share it with you in the next few weeks. Okay, next. This one is a trend where I think the fashion world and the home world are genuinely speaking exactly the same language. Trend number 9, and we are just one away from the very last one. Trend number 9 is called laced up. This is the dolly and lace renaissance on bomber jackets, on bandanas, phone cases, nails. Lace nails are up 250%, lace bandanas are up 150%, lace makeup is up 120%. In fashion, you've seen lace skirts. There's so much lace. And in fashion, this is Gen Z and millennials taking something historically associated with grandmothers and vintage tablecloths and making it cool again. And I find that genuinely exciting because that is exactly the move that good interior design makes all the time. The design parallel here is all about delicate detail. Sheer lace panels, curtains in a modern room, embroidered cushion covers, a lace-edged lampshade, vintage-inspired crochet throws, table linens making a proper comeback, and I think they absolutely will this year. What I love about this for transitional interiors is that lace adds texture. It also adds lightness simultaneously. So it's not heavy, it doesn't overpower a space. A pair of sheer lace curtains in an otherwise clean modern room adds femininity and softness without disturbing the overall calm of the space. That balance, delicate detail in a restrained setting is genuinely, in my opinion, chef's kiss. The rule I give you, though, is one lace moment per room. We can't overlace either a curtain or a cushion or a lampshade, not all three. Let it be the thing you notice, not the thing you can't escape. And here we are, the last, yet most interesting trend number 10, the one I have been really excited about and building throughout this entire episode. And I meant what I said at the top. This one is the most slept on, most impactful thing you could do for 2026 in your home. It's called Poetcore, the intentional home corner. Hear me out. Trend 10. So why does Pinterest call this Poetcore? Well, Gen Z and millennials channeling their inner sort of protagonist, oversized turtlenecks, vintage blazers, fountain pens, messenger satchels. The poetic aesthetic is up almost 200%. And look, as a fashion aesthetic, it's lovely. Bookish, considered, a little romantic. I respect it. But here's why I saved it for last. Poetcore has a home, and that home is one of the most requested spaces I get asked to help create right now. The reading room, the personal study, the home library. After years of open plan everything, people are genuinely craving intimate, intentional corners in their homes, a chair with a good light, a wall of books, a small writing desk, a space that is just for thinking, reading, and being still. Not for watching something, not for scrolling, just for being in your own head. These are the spaces that people end up loving the most in their homes. They can be the most impactful and the most attention grabbing. They don't require a full room. They can be carved out of a tiny little corner, a landing, a deep window bay, but they do require thought. All right, that's it, all 10 trends. I hope you found this interesting, all translated through sort of my eyes. And the thing that strikes me most across all of these is that 2026 is a real year of conviction. Every single trend here, whether I love it or not, is asking for you to make a choice. to have a point of view and to stop decorating defensively, but start decorating honestly. If you stayed all the way to the end, well, please give this video a thumbs up. It makes a huge difference for all of us. We work so hard to give you content. That would mean a lot. And don't forget to subscribe. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you next week on this channel, The Red Elevator.